Seattle never really dries. Even when the rain stops, the streets hold on to their memories, small mirrors of what used to be. I still remember that morning, gray sky, wet pavement, and the silence of a house that had forgotten laughter. My husband, Daniel, had been missing for 3 months. The police called it a voluntary disappearance. Sometimes people just leave, they said. But people don't just leave their daughter's half-finished birthday cake on the counter or their favorite jacket by the door. My daughter, Emily, was 17, quiet, brilliant, and endlessly curious. When Daniel vanished, she closed herself off, locked in her room most days, headphones on, music leaking through the walls like a heartbeat I couldn't reach. On the day everything changed, the rain had been relentless since dawn. I went into Emily's room to gather laundry. The usual clutter was there, notebooks, paintbrushes, half-read novels, but something different caught my eye. A small green leather diary tucked under her pillow. I shouldn't have opened it. Every line felt like trespassing. But a mother's grief has no boundaries. The first page was innocent, notes about school, sketches of the ocean, song lyrics. Then a line stopped me. Dad says the truth isn't safe to write down. My chest tightened. What truth? I turned the pages. Her handwriting changed, sharper, heavier. He meets someone at night, says it's for work. I followed once. It wasn't work. I felt the air leave my lungs. The words swam in front of me, blurred by tears and disbelief. Daniel, secret meetings, in the middle of the night. I closed the diary, but it felt alive in my hands, as if the pages were still whispering. The rain outside had quieted, replaced by the distant sound of foghorns on the Sound. Seattle always hums, even in silence. And that night, I could swear the house hummed back, like it knew I'd opened a door I wasn't meant to. The next morning, I sat at the kitchen table with the diary in front of me, untouched. I stared at it the way you'd stare at a loaded gun, knowing one more touch might change everything. Emily came down late, eyes red, avoiding mine. You didn't go into my room, right? Her voice was careful, fragile. I lied, no, sweetheart. She nodded, but didn't look convinced. Then she said something that still echoes. If you ever find something that doesn't make sense, don't try to fix it. Some truths break more than they heal. She left for school before I could respond, and I sat there, frozen, watching her disappear into the mist, the same mist that once swallowed Daniel. That evening, I opened the diary again. Page after page, her voice changed from daughter to observer, almost like she was documenting someone else's life. He says people are watching us. He doesn't trust anyone at work. He keeps mentioning an investigation, but I don't know what for. I remembered the tension Daniel carried the last few months, late calls, closed doors, the way he'd flinch when the phone rang. But nothing prepared me for what came next. Mom thinks he's hiding money, but I think it's something worse. My fingers trembled as I turned the next page. It was empty, except for a small pressed leaf taped to the corner. I whispered it aloud, and for a second, it felt like the city itself answered. The low rumble of distant waves, the echo of seagulls, and somewhere far away, a train horn cutting through fog. That night, sleep wouldn't come. The diary lay beside me, open to that single word, Pier 43. I hadn't been there in years, not since Daniel took us for a family photo on our 10th anniversary. The place was old, almost abandoned now, just storage sheds and rusted fishing boats. I decided I'd go in the morning. Not because I expected to find Daniel, but because the silence in our home had started to sound like a lie. Before dawn, I slipped the diary into my coat pocket and left a note for Emily. Back soon. Need to clear my head. Outside, Seattle was a watercolor of gray and blue. The streets shimmered under streetlights, and the smell of wet cedar filled the air. As I drove through the sleeping city, I couldn't help but feel like someone was already one step ahead of me, watching, waiting, perhaps even guiding me exactly where they wanted me to go. The diary wasn't just a confession. It was a map. I didn't know it then, but by following my daughter's words, I was walking straight into the story my husband had been trying to erase. Seattle's mornings feel different when you're chasing ghosts. The light doesn't rise, it leaks softly through fog. The world feels half asleep, half watching. When I reached Pier 43, the sky hung low, pressing against the water like it wanted to hide something beneath. The boards creaked under my boots, soaked from the night's rain. The place was almost deserted, a few fishermen, a shuttered cafe, the smell of salt and oil in the air. I didn't know what I was looking for, maybe a sign, maybe a mistake, maybe him. The wind tugged at my coat as I walked past the old storage sheds. One door caught my attention, metal, rusted, but freshly padlocked. Next to it, scrawled on the wall in faded white paint, were the numbers, the same number that Emily had written in her diary's corner. My heart thudded. I knocked once, no response. Again, just the echo of wood and water. I turned to leave. But then from inside came a faint metallic clatter. Like someone had just dropped a key. I froze. The sound came again, closer this time, then silence. I wanted to run, but instead I whispered, "Daniel?" The echo swallowed his name whole. No reply. I circled the building and found a side window, cracked open. Inside was darkness, thick, heavy, unmoving. My reflection stared back from the glass, fractured by raindrops. Something in me broke then. I pushed it open, crawled inside. The air smelled of salt, rust, and something else. Old paper. Boxes stacked high, labeled with dates. I ran my fingers over one, May 2019. Another, Private Carter Family Trust. My last name. I felt dizzy. I opened one box. Inside documents, receipts, envelopes, all water-stained and yellowing. At the bottom lay a single photograph, Daniel, with a man I didn't recognize. Both smiling, shaking hands, standing in front of a police vehicle. And written across the photo in my husband's handwriting, "They'll never believe her." My breath caught. The her. Was that me? Emily? I felt movement behind me, soft, deliberate. I turned, nothing. Just the whisper of waves beneath the pier. Then a voice from the shadows. "You shouldn't be here." I froze. A tall figure stepped out, coat dark, eyes unreadable. "Ma'am, I'm Detective Owen Hawley, Seattle PD," he said, flashing a badge. "How did you get in here?" "This place, it's connected to my husband," I stammered. "He's been missing." Hale's expression didn't change. "Your husband's name?" "Daniel Carter." The detective's jaw tightened. "You need to come with me." We sat in his unmarked car, engine humming quietly. He didn't speak for a while, just stared out at the water. "Mrs. Carter," he finally said, "your husband wasn't missing. He was under investigation." My stomach dropped. "For what?" "Fraud. Data manipulation." He was part of a private security contract gone wrong. And he had people looking for him, dangerous ones. But then why? I stopped. Why did my daughter write about it in her diary? Holly turned to me, eyes sharp. Because she came to us. 3 months before he disappeared. My world tilted. "Emily came to you?" She said her father was scared of someone inside his own company. He told her not to tell you, that you'd panic. I felt my throat close. What happened next? We lost track of him. The last ping from his phone was right here. Pier 43. I looked back toward the pier through the rain-streaked window. Then he's dead. The detective's silence said everything. That night, when I got home, Emily was waiting. Her eyes red again, not from crying this time, but something else. You went there, she said quietly. You read everything, didn't you? I nodded. She didn't yell, didn't cry. She just whispered, then you know why he left. I didn't answer. Because I didn't, not fully. She walked to her room and closed the door. The click of the lock sounded final, like a confession I wasn't ready to hear. That night, I dreamt of Daniel. He stood at the edge of the pier, coat whipping in the wind, calling out to someone I couldn't see. And when I tried to reach him, he whispered, "Don't read the last page." I woke up gasping, my hands trembling. I reached for the diary, the one I'd hidden beneath my pillow. I turned to the very end. The last page wasn't empty anymore. New words had appeared, ink smudged as if still wet. I didn't lose him, Mom. I helped him disappear. And that's when I realized the truth wasn't about where Daniel had gone. It was about what my daughter had become trying to protect him. People say grief fades, that time stitches the wound closed, that you learn to live again. But they never talk about what happens when grief changes shape, when it begins to think. I spent the next few days inside our house, moving from room to room like a ghost haunting her own life. The scent of Daniel's cologne still lingered in the hallway. His jacket hung on the same hook by the door. The light bulb in the kitchen still flickered every few seconds. He used to say he'd fix it tomorrow, but tomorrow had become a cruel joke. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw his face, that half smile he wore when he was hiding something. And now I knew that smile had been everywhere, in every photo, every memory. I opened Emily's diary again that night. The ink had begun to fade on some pages, as if the words themselves were trying to escape. One entry caught my eye. He told me the world doesn't need to know the truth. Only we do. We. I ran my fingers over the words until the letters smudged under my thumb. I wanted to ask her what it meant, but she'd stopped talking to me completely. Meals were silent, the air between us electric, charged with something unspoken. Every time I looked at her, I saw the little girl who used to draw hearts on my shopping lists. But now her eyes were sharper, calculating, older than her years. On the third night, I heard her whispering. I crept to her door, heart pounding. Her voice was low, too calm, too rehearsed. "No, it's fine," she was saying. "She doesn't know. She thinks it's all an accident." I pressed my ear closer. "No, I told you. I burned the drive. Nobody will find it." My throat went dry. She was talking to someone who knew about him. I pushed the door open. "Emily?" She froze, the phone slipping from her hand. "Who were you talking to?" "No one. Don't lie to me." Her jaw tightened. "Why do you care now, Mom?" "You didn't care when he left." The words hit harder than I expected. "That's not true," I whispered. "You were glad he was gone," she said, voice trembling. "You said it yourself. You couldn't live with what he'd done." "What he'd done?" I repeated. "Emily, what did he do?" Her face softened for a second, guilt flickering across it like lightning, then hardened again. "You don't want to know." And she walked out. That night, I couldn't sleep. I kept replaying her words. "You don't want to know." By dawn, I was standing in Daniel's old study, staring at the locked drawer of his desk. It was where he kept everything: files, contracts, his secrets. I broke it open with a screwdriver. Inside, I found a small hard drive, black, the same one Emily said she'd burned. My pulse raced. I plugged it into the computer. Folders filled the screen, encrypted names, long strings of letters. But one folder stood out, titled simply, "For Emily." I opened it. A video file appeared, dated 5 days before Daniel disappeared. I clicked play. Daniel's face filled the screen, pale, unshaven, eyes hollow. He looked straight at the camera. "Emily," he said softly. "If you're watching this, it means things didn't go as planned." He swallowed hard, glancing over his shoulder. "You were right, they're watching me, but it's not who we thought. It's inside the department. Owen Hawley isn't who he says he is." I froze. "Detective Hawley, if anything happens to me," Daniel continued, "you know what to do. Hide the evidence. Protect your mother. She'll never forgive me if she finds out." The video cut off. My entire body went cold. The detective, the pier, the investigation. It was all connected. I drove straight to the station. The receptionist said Hawley wasn't on duty. No records. No schedule. When I asked for his supervisor, she frowned. "Ma'am, there's no detective by that name here." My knees nearly gave out. He wasn't a cop. He never was. The pieces started clicking, fast, violent, unstoppable. Emily's secrecy, the burn drive, the phone call. She wasn't protecting him. She was protecting herself because she knew. She'd known from the start. I drove home shaking. Emily was waiting in the living room, eyes red, face expressionless. "Where were you?" she asked. "I went to the police." "You shouldn't have done that." I stepped closer. "He's dead, isn't he?" She flinched. "Emily, look at me," I shouted. "What happened that night?" She took a step back. "He said he was leaving," she whispered. "He said we'd start over, just the two of us. The two of you." Her eyes filled with tears, but then he changed his mind. He said he couldn't do it anymore. He was going to turn himself in. My blood ran cold. "And then what? He slipped," she said, voice breaking. I tried to save him. Silence. I didn't believe her. Not entirely. That night, she left again. I watched from the window as she disappeared into the rain, the same direction Daniel had gone the night he vanished. The truth wasn't in her diary anymore. It was out there, somewhere near the water. Maybe I'll never know whether he fell or she let him fall. But every secret I uncover feels like a mirror, one that shows me not what I've lost, but who I was before all this began. And that woman doesn't exist anymore. Rain in Seattle doesn't fall. It lingers. It hangs in the air like breath on glass, heavy enough to remember. I drove down to the pier again that night, the one where Daniel's car had been found half submerged. The same yellow tape still fluttered on the railings, though the case had long gone cold. The tide whispered beneath the boards, a rhythm older than any truth we tell ourselves. Somewhere out there, the water held the final pieces. Maybe his watch, maybe his guilt, maybe mine. I parked the car and stepped out, clutching Emily's diary to my chest. Each page was swollen from the damp, the words blurred like the sky above me. But one last entry kept calling me back. The water forgives what the world won't. I traced that sentence over and over until my fingertips turned blue. What had she meant? Forgiveness or disappearance? My phone buzzed in my coat pocket. Unknown number. A text. You shouldn't have gone through his files. My throat tightened. The screen flickered again, a second message. Meet me where it started. I turned toward the end of the pier. A figure was waiting there, silhouette blurred by fog and rain. For a moment, I thought it was Daniel, that impossible outline, tall and sure. But when lightning split the horizon, it was Emily. She stood motionless, her hair plastered against her face, her arms at her sides. You weren't supposed to see the video, she said quietly. You made it impossible not to. I moved closer, every plank groaning beneath my shoes. He lied to both of us, she continued. You think you knew him, but you didn't. He promised he'd protect me. Then he made me choose. Choose what, Emily? Between truth and blood. Her voice cracked. I chose wrong. I stopped a few feet away. What really happened that night? Her eyes flicked to the water. He was meeting someone, the man he called Holly, they argued. He said he had proof. Then he slipped, or maybe he jumped. I tried to pull him up, but she trailed off, shaking her head. The current took him. I wanted to believe her. God, I did. But in the dim light, something shimmered on her wrist, a silver watch. Daniel's watch, the same one the police never recovered. Where did you get that? He gave it to me. When? Before he went under. No, I whispered. He would never. He told me to hide the evidence, she snapped. He said if I loved him, I'd protect him. The wind howled between us. I stepped closer, voice shaking. Emily, whatever you're protecting, it's killing you. Her expression softened. It already has. Thunder rolled across the bay. Rain came harder now, the kind that feels like confession. She reached into her coat and pulled out a small flash drive, the missing piece. This is what he died for, she said, proof of everything. But it's not just about him, Mom. It's about what he did for us. She pressed it into my palm. If you open it, you'll lose the version of him you loved. If you don't, you'll never know the truth. I looked down at the tiny piece of metal, lighter than air, heavier than grief. When I looked up again, she was crying. I'm sorry, she whispered. I didn't mean for it to end like this. End like what? Like him. Like the water. She took one step back toward the edge of the pier. Emily, don't, he said, the water forgives. I lunged forward, grabbing her wrist. The same wrist that wore Daniel's watch. The metal felt ice cold. You're not him, I pleaded. You don't have to disappear, too. For a moment, she hesitated. Then the watch strap snapped, the sound small but final. The watch fell into the water below, swallowed by the dark. She collapsed into my arms, shaking. It's over, I whispered. It's over. Weeks later, after the investigation reopened, I finally plugged the flash drive into my computer. Inside were documents, photos, reports, evidence of Daniel's double life. Fraud, false identities, disappearances. He hadn't been protecting us. He'd been running from us. The last file was a letter addressed to Emily. If she ever finds out, tell her I loved her. Tell her I was already gone. I read it 3 times before closing the laptop. Some truths don't set you free. They anchor you. People say the water forgives, but I've learned it doesn't forget. Every ripple carries a name, and every name a choice. My daughter saved my life that night by letting the past drown. They finally closed Daniel's case last month. Accidental death, the report said, as if those 2 words could tidy up a lifetime of mistakes. No trial, no villains, no heroes, just water and silence. Emily moved out soon after. She said she needed air that wasn't heavy. I didn't stop her. Some distances are the only way to keep loving someone. I still keep the flash drive locked in the bottom drawer of my desk. I haven't shown it to anyone. Sometimes I wonder if the truth is safer when it sleeps. Seattle hasn't changed. It still rains the same way it did the night I found her on the pier. But now the sound comforts me. It feels like Daniel's apology falling softly, endlessly. I found his letter again this morning. The paper has gone thin, the ink blotted by time. If she ever finds out, tell her I loved her. Tell her I was already gone. The first time I read those words, I thought they were cowardice. Today, I hear confession. Maybe he knew the truth would bury us both. Maybe he wanted to disappear before it did. Emily calls sometimes. Her voice is lighter now, though it still carries a careful pause before saying my name. We don't talk about him. We talk about weather, work, her new apartment near the Sound. The kind of small talk that keeps the world from caving in. Last week she said, "Mom, the rain's beautiful tonight." And I answered, "Yes, it forgives a lot." We both went quiet after that. Sometimes late at night, I walk down to the pier again. The yellow tape is gone, but I can still see where it once fluttered in the wind. I drop a single white lily into the water. It floats for a while, spinning slowly before the tide carries it away. I whisper, "You can rest now." I'm not sure whether I mean Daniel or myself. Maybe the truth isn't something you uncover. Maybe it's something you learn to live beside. The diary, the drive, the letter, they were never just evidence. They were echoes, reminding me that love and guilt often sound the same when whispered through time. She exhales, a long breath. My name is Lena Carter, and this was the story of what the water remembered.